Hello and welcome to AWS Certified Solution Architect course. In this video, we will discuss about how to create a VPC. So let's go to networking and content delivery. Click on VPC. If you see, we already have one VPC. Let me show you. But this is a default VPC. This is the VPC. If you see here, default VPC tag, it's yes. So that means when we created this account, this VPC was provided by Amazon. The Amazon has already created a default VPC and provided it to us so that our resources are protected. So what happens when you delete this VPC? Actually, this is not recommended, but if you delete this VPC, you need to call at Amazon AWS support center and you need to ask them to restore it back for you. So that's not advisable. You should always keep the default VPC. And if you want to create another VPC for your usage, you can just create it by using this tab. Before creating the VPC, let's see some of the things that are present in this dashboard. So the first thing is VPC, second is subnets. So we have a private and public subnet. Let me show you how to check that. If you see the route table of this subnet, if you see the route table of this subnet, the target is internet gateway and local. So that means whatever the traffic inside this subnet, this VPC, that will be traversed within that subnet, and it can also go whatever the instances within that instances or any other resources within that subnet can be routed through internet gateway as well. So this is how we can say this is a public subnet because the traffic has been routed through internet gateway. Now let's see the route table of some other. It's also routing through internet gateways. Then this is also a public subnet. So we can create a private subnet as well and check the route tables and give a route tables that will route only within the VPC. It will be internally in VPC. It will not route the traffic to internet gateway. So we will do it later. Now let's see what is the route table we have. We have just one route table and its routes are for internet gateways. So we don't have a route for our private subnet. So let's can just create it private route for this VPC. Okay, so if you see here, internet gateway, the route for internet gateway is not present. So that means it's a private subnet. It's a private route. So if we add it here and if we route the traffic to internet gateway, it will again become a public subnet. So let's keep it like this only. Now internet gateway, when you create a VPC, you may choose to create a internet gateway as well if you want your traffic to go outside your VPC. So that you can do egress only internet gateway. This is for IPv6. It's not required right now. DSCP option set. So when you create a VPC and create subnets and launch instances within the subnet, so the IP address, the private IP address and public IP address, all the resources will get their public and private IP address from the DSCP. So that's this is the DSCP that is managed by AWS, and it will provide IP addresses to resources. Now elastic IP. What are elastic IP? Elastic IP are IP which are it's a public IP and it will be consistent across reboot or shutting down of a server. So what happens is, like in VPC, if you have some instance and you shut down that instance, its public IP will change. If you reboot the server or if you shut down the server, its public IP will change. So if you don't want the IP to change, you can attach a elastic IP to that instance. So this is the function of elastic IP. It's a consistent, persistent public IP that can be attached to a resource in AWS. Now endpoints. Endpoints mean if you are willing to provide access to one resource in AWS to another resource without having that resource to go to internet and traverse and then come back again in VPC. So you can create an endpoint. So currently there is only endpoint possible for S3 buckets. So you can just create an endpoint for S3 bucket, and you can allow your EC2 instances to reach out to S3 buckets without forming a big loop, going outside of VPC and then coming again using internet gateway and all. So you can create an endpoint so that it will directly go and interact with S3 buckets within the VPC. Next thing is NAT gateways. So as we discussed in the previous video, if you launch an instance in private subnet, the instance will not be able to reach out to internet because it's in private subnet, and private subnet routes do not go through internet gateway. So what we can do is, like, we can create a NAT gateway and attach it to private subnet. So what happens, what the traffic of the private subnets and the instances in private subnet will route through NAT gateway, and NAT gateway will be launched in public subnet, and hence it will be able to reach out to internet. So this way we can allow the instances in private subnet to reach out to internet for their security updates or whatever downloads and all they can do. But there is a limitation. Outside traffic, whatever the traffic in the internet, whatever the persons who are trying to access the instances in private subnet from internet, they will not be able to access that. That is the limitation of a NAT gateway. Now, peering connections. So if we want to peer two VPCs, if we have two VPCs and we want an interaction between these two VPCs, we can create a peering connection between them. So when you create a peering connection, you need to give details of the destination VPC. You need to provide account number, and once you create this request, the destination account will get this request in their account, and they need to approve it within 1 week. So if it's not approved within 1 week, the request will be lapsed. Now, network ACLs. It's the network ACLs are second layer of security in VPC. So there are security groups which works at instance level. So they will provide security at instance level. However, if you want to tighten the security more, you can create network ACL. The network ACL will work at subnet level, and by default it will allow all the traffic if you're not making any changes. But it's a very tricky thing. I have not seen any environment that are using NACL right now, but it's for tightening your security. Again, the next thing is security groups. Security groups, as I already told, it will be applied at instance level and it will protect your instances. It's just like a firewall on your on-premise environment. You can allow inbound or outbound ports on at the instance level. Now we have VPN connections. So you can create a VPN connection from your on-premise data center to AWS. Using this, you need to create a customer gateway for, and then virtual private gateway, and then VPN connections. So that's a tricky task. So that is not very much required for exam point of view. So let's go again to VPC, and we will try to create VPC. So let's give a name, test VPC CIDR block. So what it's given 172.131.0.0. So we'll give 192.168.0.0. Make sure it's a private IP. We don't need IPv6 CIDR block. Tenancy default. Even you can create a dedicated tenancy, but that will cost more. So let's create it. Test VPC. So our VPC is created. As you can see, all the details has been popped up. Flow logs will tell you how the traffic is flowing. So this will help you in troubleshooting your networks. That's not required as of now. So this is how we will create a VPC in our environment. So thank you for listening. Have a great day.